Now to the senator insisting that any debt deal indeed include a balanced budget amendment to force the issue. Republican Mike Lee joining us right now. Senator, good to have you back.
Good to be here.
You know, Senator, I used to think the whole balance of budget amendment thing was stupid, and I don't mean any disrespect, but I always felt if you have to force people into doing something, then they just don't have the will to do it. But I've come around to your thinking here that if it's the only way to get it done, 48 states or so have that proviso in there, and they get it done. So maybe that's what the federal government needs. Do you have enough of your colleagues who agree that this could happen?
We don't just yet, Neil, but we will soon. And the reason is people understand that sometimes you have to have people force themselves to do the right thing. Lately, Congress has been unwilling to do that right thing, which is spend no more than it takes in. But the balanced budget amendment is a way of Congress forcing itself in advance of our ability to agree on where the cuts will occur, that in just a few years' time, we are going to start balancing our budget because our freedom, our ability to survive with a robust economy depends on that.
While you're speaking, Senator, we're getting word from Speaker Boehner that he is willing to talk with the president or anyone else about the serious challenges we face, though obviously tax hikes are still off the table because tax hikes will destroy jobs. This is from his spokesman, Michael Steele. Is that where we stand?
Well, yeah, I think it's where we stand because, look, I'm certainly unwilling to vote for any package connected with the debt limit increase or otherwise that would result in tax increases. We can't raise taxes right now on any segment of the population. Any segment of the population that it might affect would be the same segment that we're relying on to invest. It takes investment to create jobs. And when you kill investment, which you do anytime you raise taxes, you're killing job creation. And this is a time when we can least afford to do that.
You know what I'm seeing, though, Senator? I'm not blaming you. I'm not blaming any of your colleagues. I'm not blaming Democrats. I'm just seeing a train wreck. And I'm saying you guys are so far apart. This is an early August supernova event because we are going right up against that debt limit. And bad. What do you say?
Well, the one way we can survive a train wreck is to undertake the one option that I think Democrats and Republicans can agree upon, because it's the one option that the American people overwhelmingly support, which is the balanced budget amendment. If we adopt this now, all we're doing is agreeing with something like 75% of all Americans in saying we're going to start balancing our budget. We will put a time fuse on it. Within just a few years' time, we'll be legally mandated to do it. So that, in addition to whatever short-term spending cuts that we can achieve, will help us solve this problem. But again, the balanced budget amendment is undecided. It's agnostic as to where the cuts will be made. That leaves the question for another day, a day that will be soon in coming, but it will come. It's the only way that we can bind a future Congress, and that's what we need now more than ever, is the ability to bind future Congress's ability to spend.
Do you think Democrats are laying a trap for you, though? That you're so firm on this, and that's to your credit, you stick by your guns, that you will risk a debt ceiling disaster, maybe they say insolvency, to prove your point, and that a lot of Americans might agree with you, but once they realize what happens when that happens, they're going to point their fingers at you and say, you did this.
Well, I try, Neil, never to speak for my colleagues, never to speak for those against whom I'm negotiating. I don't know and I can't know what their subjective intent is. But I can say if that is what they're trying to do, I think it'll backfire, and it'll backfire badly. Because the American people are finding out what Republicans want. And I and a lot of my colleagues in the Senate and in the House simply want a balanced budget amendment before we move on to a debt limit increase. That is a very reasonable demand. And if they're going to try to shut down the government just because they don't want to pass a balanced budget amendment, that's a huge mistake and one that they will live to regret.
All right, Senator, good seeing you. Thank you.
Thank you.